All right, now to our first conversation. There's so much volatility in the FX market with the Naira weakening in the parallel market, and also see some weakness too in the official window. To bring us up to speed now, we have Mr. Bismarck Rouane, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, join us via Zoom. Great to have you on the show, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. So all eyes on the CBN at this time. We've seen some backlogs. There's about 14 banks have been taken care of, according to the CBN at this time, but we still have a couple of other industries, expecting their backlogs also settled, at this time. But now the CBN is talking about some abuses in the FX backlogs. They're about $7 billion, and they're vowing sanctions at this time. What do you make of this?
You see, the whole foreign exchange difficulty that Nigeria faces today arises from a couple of things: structural defects in the way the market is structured. 2, the shortage of supply. 3, the signals, conflicting signals that are going out to the market. Markets are very sensitive. So let us take it one by one. The value of the Naira in the foreign exchange market today is about 1,320 Naira to a dollar. It was trading at about 1,215 about a week ago. Why that sudden depreciation? It coincides with the time when on one hand, we have interest rates in the primary market actually declining sharply, the 90-day rate going down to 2% and so on. And on the other hand, we are having OMO rates going in the other direction. So markets do not like uncertainty and confusion. This confusion and this is beginning to actually step in and confuse investors. 1, 2, yes. Right. 2, we have the Naira has plunged, as I said earlier on, because of these confused signals, mixed signals that are coming out. All right. Secondly, we know that money supply has gone up by 39% in 2023. So that points to the fact that there's a potency of inflation. And while the primary market rates are going in the other direction, it means that there's excess liquidity in the system. Excess liquidity is a major stoking factor for inflation and currency weakness. 3, the Monetary Policy Committee met last in July. We are now going into February. No word as to when, how, and how it's going to be constituted. The Monetary Policy Committee is an independent committee. It's an independent committee which makes decisions and pursues monetary policy to ensure that it's within the framework of inflation, explicit inflation targeting, and the made up of independent and also other members. There is evidence for viewers out there. There's evidence to show that when a central bank is autonomous and independent, those economies perform better than the economies that are subservient to political interference. So that's another thing that has to happen. But generally speaking, I think the good news is that oil production has increased in Nigeria. Oil price has inched up a little bit, just at about the same level as the benchmark price. And so, LNG has dropped a little bit here and there. So generally speaking, there's room. But the good news is also that the federal government of Nigeria hinted yesterday that they will take a $1.5 billion kind of budget support facility, which will help support the currency. But generally speaking, we expect the currency to actually depreciate a little bit before it starts finding value, until something is done about the interest rate policy, which will help at least stop the bleeding of the currency at this point in time. Right now, there's a lot of work to be done. And monetary policy and monetary policy and fiscal policy have to have an alignment and coordination to make sure that the economy doesn't suffer.
Right, and talking about, the bleeding Naira at this point, and the federal government seeking about $1.5 billion from the World Bank. Talk to me about how this fund is supposed to be used to help the Naira at this point, or how it should have been used. What would you recommend, for this 1.5 billion, if they get it? How do you use it to make sure that the Naira is actually supported?
No, you have to look at the aggregate supply and the aggregate demand. The demand, the backlog of airlines and the backlog for other commitments, forward commitments that have not been serviced, is significant. It's about maybe $7-8 billion. I don't know what the figure is. But the $2 billion we got from the Afrexim Bank, we've already pledged 90,000 barrels a day of oil going forward. So when you look at the cash flow, which is important, 90,000 barrels of oil has already gone out of, and that is going to be used to service the disbursement from the Afrexim Bank. The World Bank support program is interesting, but it is not significant. In terms of materiality, it won't go that far. You cannot hide from the fact that, one, you've got to do something about your interest rate inflation differential. One, you've got to open up the market for transparency. That is, if you're having a managed floating system, come out and say, look, the central bank is going to auction $200 million or $20 million or $50 million today. Everybody bid. Then you call the people that have cash calls, Shell, Chevron, Exxon, or whatever. You come out into an open auction. That way, one, we achieve price discovery. Two, everybody will now know who bought it and they can go there and buy. Right now, exchange rate volatility is not the issue. There's a supply issue, and the fact that nobody knows exactly where, when, and how where you will get your next dollar and at what price. So the uncertainty premium is playing hard and actually undermining the true value of the Naira. The Naira under purchasing power parity is showing us that it's about 851, 870 Naira to a dollar. Using the hamburger index is showing us that it's 1,400 to a dollar. And using the parallel market, it's now showing that it's 1,351 Naira to a dollar. Those rates are all over the place. And the difference between, in June 2023, the difference between the parallel market and the official market came down to as low as 4 Naira 51. The PPP tells us that the Naira is probably undervalued. So what is making the Naira trade in the parallel market at such a premium is because of the fear, the uncertainty, and the fact that nobody has come out to say, okay, this is the program for managing this float. This is the supply we're going to put in the market. Let everybody know what the real deal is. That is the thing. It is the central bank is doing as best as it could. They've removed a lot of the restrictions. But market structure matters. And the fact that we must know exactly how much is there. There's too much uncertainty as to how much is there. Once people know that the supply is there, it doesn't matter how low the supply is. And the price is the function of price, demand, and the supply. Then everybody knows, because whatever you import, you will mark it up and sell it to the market. So it's a market structure, confidence, liquidity, and clarity and certainty as to what is happening. Those are the factors that are undermining the Naira at this point. So my recommendation, number one, let's have a schedule of when the MPC will meet. Let us have a monetary policy framework which are explicit inflation targeting. Let's open up this managed floating system so that there is an open auction, so everybody sees who is buying, how much are bidding. We've done it before. We did it successfully in this country. And then from that discovered price, we begin to work our way all the way back to bringing the currency within its fair value. I think that's the problem. There are too many cards that are being kept close to the chest.
Right. I guess we need to show our cards at this point. Thank you so much. Always great having your perspectives. The Bismarck Kurani, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, and we're hoping for some strength in the Naira soon. Thank you.
You will see it soon.
Thank you, sir.